Let's bring in our guest here, Jeremy Werner, who covers Illini basketball for 24/7 Sports and the Illini Inquirer. You can follow him on Twitter at jwerner247. Jeremy, it's Pat and Brad. I can imagine the last 24 hours feeling like a fever dream for the Illini. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, it's probably the best win of the Brad Underwood era last night, but they got to flip the switch pretty quickly here to make history.
Yes, they do. We don't want to flip the switch just yet. We want to ask you about last night. Who would have predicted that a 65-55 final score was won by Illinois, considering rock fights and grinded out possessions in the half court were Houston's strengths, yet Illinois was dominant for most of the game, specifically the 17-0 kill shot run they issued shortly after the second half started. From covering the team and hearing what Coach Brad Underwood had to say after the game, what the heck changed at halftime that spurred that run? Because they dominated the game from that point on, basically.
Well, to be honest with you, I think it started in the first 5 minutes of the game. I think Illinois set the tone in a boxing match against a Houston team that wins that way. Illinois threw the first punch. They brought the gloves last night. They were the more physical team. And to be honest with you, I thought they were the tougher team. And who would have thought that the team who wins with defense in a Houston-Illinois game would be Illinois? Because all season long, the defense has been the big question mark. We've seen glimpses where it looks good, usually against teams outside of the top 30 of the KenPom, but against teams with great guard play, Illinois has just struggled to stop anybody. They kind of rest on their laurels. They're not the most athletic or quick team, but they do have length. They do have some size and physicality. But for whatever reason, the defense just didn't click all season long. But I think it was just the urgency of the end, guys. This team knew it had a bunch of talent, knew it was Final Four worthy and caliber roster, but they had to focus on the defensive end. They had to lock in there. And I think it started against Penn and VCU. I know those teams are overmatched, but Illinois' best defensive game of the season against the top 50 KenPom team came against VCU in the NCAA tournament. Their best defensive game against the top 30 KenPom team came against Houston in the NCAA tournament. That was the number 10 offense in the country entering yesterday, and Illinois just completely shut off Kingston Flemings. Miles Uzan had one of his worst games of the season. I thought Cam Crocker, the first-year defensive coordinator for Illinois, had a great game plan, but he deferred to the players, saying, hey, they just focused on, hey, we have to do this if we don't want to go home. And Illinois locked in, and it shows that if you can add that kind of physicality, toughness, and defense to what has been a historic offense along with Purdue this year, this team is capable of competing for a national title, and now they're one step away from getting Indy.
Jeremy, great to hear your voice, mi amigo. The Illinois team is really full of characters. How fun has it been covering David Mirkovic this season and his Balkan brethren? Mirk is a guy who's not only wins everywhere on the court, but his infectious personality wins the microphone, evidenced by his hilarious post-game interview in which he says, I can't tell you the secret. It's a secret. When Tomislav Ivicic whispered something in his ear after the game. Do you have any fun Mirk anecdotes that you can share covering him this season? And how indispensable are his efforts on the court for this Illinois team?
Yeah, I mean, this is a real fun team. And my favorite part, Brad, about the NCAA tournament in the postseason is we get open locker rooms. So we get to see that more. We get to interact with them more. Like Andrei Stojakovic is calling me Werner Bros all the time. Like just being around these guys. But David has been such a personality all year long. But like now we get to see it a little bit more. He's got this crazy Ace Ventura-like hair at sometimes. But his teammates say he acts like a 12-year-old. He's really kind of this fun-loving kid, jokey personality. And he kind of gets spacey, like off the court. But on the court, he's like this basketball savant. His basketball IQ is like Mensa-like. And you just see the physicality, the toughness he brings. He's like a college Nikola Jokic, right? Like, and that's what he's brought to Illinois. The good thing for Illinois is he's 6'9", not 7 foot. So he's probably going to be in college for a little bit longer. But he is indispensable. I think, Keaton Wagler has been the best player all year, but for the past 5-6 weeks, I think David Mirkovic has probably been their best overall player. And just the consistency that David Mirkovic and Keaton Wagler play with has been unreal for freshmen. They see the game, they feel the game, they're never rushed. But David brings that physicality as well. I think Keaton has been tough and physical as he's added strength this season, has kind of gotten used to that physicality. And the cool part is all these veterans who are expecting bigger roles, Kylan Boswell, Andre Stojakovic, Tomislav Ivasic, all of those guys have sacrificed because they know those freshmen lift the ceiling of this team, and they know they can go far if they sacrifice a little of their shots, a little bit of their role to those freshmen who really lift them. So it's been really cool to see that all come together.
Yeah, no question about it. Let's talk about some of those role players, as you just harped on, whether it's Big Z, Jake Davis, the big bushy hair. He had a couple of monster rebound, hit a huge three as well in the game. Ben Hummerkaus on that 17-0 kill shot run, hit that monster three as well for the top of the key. Of course, Hummerkaus has been lambasted by a lot of Illini Nation, but he does a lot of the little things that you never see in the box score. So talk about the complementary players, the glue guys on this Illinois team, and just how important they are to the overall schematics and possibly how important they may be against the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, every championship team needs those guys. Jake Davis is a former Mercer player, right? Not the most athletic, not the fastest. But boy, he can shoot the heck out of the ball. He does all the little things, a couple big offensive rebounds last night. And to be honest with you, I thought defensively he did pretty well. Like Emmanuel Sharp shook him out of his shoes a couple times, but Jake was able to contest. Ben Hummerkaus is one of the most fascinating transformations I've ever seen. He came in, was a leading scorer at Evansville, a bucket getter, a great shooter. Didn't shoot the ball well last year, but he also didn't do much of else. Like his defense and rebounding weren't great. This year, he's gotten better as a shooter, but he also has been one of Illinois' best defenders. He's improved his rebounding greatly this year, and he's just become a winning player for Illinois. He's kind of the old man, kind of the uncle of the group. He's 24 years old. He's married. He's just kind of been that kind of calming influence and just steady guy off the bench. And then they bring two potential NBA prospects. I don't know if they'll get drafted, but Zvonimir Ivasic, 7'2". You saw his dunk against VCU. He's a great rim protector. And then Andre Stojakovic, who was the biggest investment of the offseason. You thought he could be their leading scorer. He's been a great scorer for them, but he kind of has to pick his spots. But he has shown up in huge spots in the NCAA tournament, kind of lifted Illinois when their offense does get a little cold. He's the one guy, even though he's the son of Peja, that's not his game. He's not a great three-point shooter. He attacks the rim. He finishes at the rim through contact, great strength. No one can stay in front of him right now. So all that depth and all the depth of talent, when they got Keaton Wagler's the top NBA prospect, but they got guys who are going to have a chance to play in the NBA with Tomislav Ivasic, Zvonimir Ivasic, Andre Stojakovic, and Kylan Boswell, who's obviously their two-way guard and real emotional leader. So they got the pieces, guys, and now we'll see what they can do with it against an Iowa team that doesn't have the talent, but is playing great ball and has obviously shown they can upset some top teams.
That's right. We're talking to Jeremy Werner here on BetMGM tonight, Westwood One Sports. He's Brad Evans. I'm Pat Boyle. Jeremy covers Illini basketball for 24/7 Sports and the Illini Inquirer. You can follow him on Twitter at jwerner247. Jeremy, you mentioned Keaton Wagler. I want to shout him out. Illinois, again, arguably their best player, their best NBA prospect, their star freshman, because he struggled to shoot last night. 13 points on 4 of 14 shooting, but he grabbed 12 rebounds to lead the team, played great defense, 2 blocks and a steal, only 1 turnover. There's been a lot of chatter about how well his game will translate to the NBA and if he's worth being a lottery pick. Brad and I were just debating it earlier. Do you think he's shown off other parts of his game that warrant him being a top 10 or, dare I say it, a top 5 pick now with how he's played in the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, you see guys like Kingston Flemings, the speed. Keaton Wagler doesn't have that. Darius Acuff is just wired to score, bigger body, obviously a better athlete. I get why some team might take the chance on a guy like that, but I think Keaton Wagler has shown that he's not just this tall guard who can pass well and process the game well. He does all of those things, and I think Illinois would like him to start games a little bit better. He's jumping off one foot and struggling with that physicality, missed some layups that he normally makes. Sometimes he takes a little bit while to be aggressive at the beginning of games, but he never has 2 bad halves in a row. He took over at times in that second half. You see that step back 3, that's great. He plays with a pace like Tyrese Halliburton. He's got a killer streak like Tyrese Halliburton. But I think the other parts of his game have really grown. He's gained more than 20 pounds since he's gotten here. I think he's shown so much physicality in attacking the rim. He's a willing guy to attack the rim. He doesn't shy away from contact. But I think defensively, he's gotten so much better as this year has gone on. I thought he was fantastic yesterday against Sharp and Uzan in defending those guys into subpar games. He had 2 blocks and a steal, but just made stop after stop. And then he just isn't afraid to get his head in there and rebound. And that was so valuable for Illinois because, Houston, the last couple of games they had, some of their opponents just did not really focus on the glass. The guards didn't. And against those Houston tough guards, they'll steal a lot of possessions doing that. So I think Keaton Wagler showed he's got more to his game. So even if he isn't a superstar at the next level, I think he can play like a Derek White. I think that's kind of, one, I don't know if it's the floor, but I think he's got that kind of style of game that even if he doesn't a superstar because maybe of a lack of athleticism, I think he's going to be a winning player. And guys, if Cameron Boozer and Duke get upset here today, Keaton Wagler would be the highest rated prospect left in the NCAA tournament. I think that says a lot about how he's a winning player.
Yeah, and I think the Derek White comp is spot on there, amigo. Jeremy, let's go ahead and look ahead to the Elite Eight matchup on Saturday. Illinois controlled most of its prior game against Iowa in Iowa City earlier this year. Got a little bit touch and go late, but they still won that game by a decent margin. What are the biggest keys in your mind for Illinois to reach the Final Four for the first time since 2005? Meanwhile, conversely, how could Iowa spoil the fun and make me cry?
I think Illinois is going to find a way to score. And I think it's important for Illinois to not settle, right? When they've gotten in trouble offensively, it's because they feel good about their shot making. They make some early and they settle. They need to keep attacking the rim. Iowa does not have a great defensive rim presence. They allow pretty high percentage of 2-point field goals or a high rim percentage. They allow a lot of free throws. So I think Illinois needs to make sure they keep attacking. Don't get bored with that. Stay mentally tough and physically tough and attacking the rim, which I like what I've seen out of Keaton Wagler and Andre Stojakovic with that. I'd love to see Tomislav Ivičić get some more paint touches because he's been so good at that recently. And I think David Mirkovic will bring it. So getting those offensive rebounds. But I think it all comes down to defense and physicality because they are so much bigger than Iowa. But Iowa's front court has really come of age here. Alvaro Forjaris has been unbelievable. When he scores in double figures, they win games. And Cooper Koch is not a freshman anymore, as Brad Underwood said. He's hitting big shot after big shot. Tate Sage is really stepping up here recently. So this Iowa team is better than the one they saw in Iowa City. But I think this Illinois team is better than they were in January at that point because I think they've learned some of the lessons of these overtime losses, of letting off the gas. This is a team that seems so focused right now. But for me, it's about that defensive intensity, rebounding, because when Illinois brings that, they are just such a tough matchup. They're more talented. They're bigger than Iowa. But Iowa is red hot right now with that offense. They're the number one offense in the NCAA tournament right now. I think 142 offensive rating right now. But Illinois' defense is the number 8 in the NCAA tournament, which is a huge bump up from what they were during the regular season. So if Illinois continues to bring that intensity, focus on defense that they've had against VCU, that they've had against Houston, I think Illinois will win. But they got to take Iowa seriously because they've been a giant slayer so far.
Yeah, they're going up against the GOAT, Ben McCullum. We're talking with Jeremy Werner here for another 2 minutes or so on BetMGM tonight on Western One Sports. Jeremy, if Illinois takes down the Hawkeyes tomorrow night, they're headed to Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, only a 2-hour drive from Champaign. The Illini fans certainly made their voices heard in Houston against Houston. Do you think they could enjoy the best fan support out of any team that makes it to Indy if they get there?
Boy, I would hope so, because this is what they've been waiting for. Brad knows it for 21 years. They've been waiting for this program to get to this stage. Bruce Weber led him there in 2005 with Bill Self's players, and then it's fallen off. It was kind of gradual for a little bit, and then it just hit a nadir where you have 5-6 straight years of not making an NCAA tournament, let alone, being a major player in the Big Ten. So what Brad Underwood has done, building up this program, his first 2 years, the most losses Illinois had in a 2-year span, to getting Io DeSumo and Kofi Coburn, to getting a Big Ten championship, a number 1 seed. But having these setbacks, losing to Loyola, losing to Houston in the second round of the NCAA tournament, right? Getting crushed by UConn in the Elite Eight a couple of years ago, but you keep raising the bar of talent, raising the bar of what your expectations are. This team has met the expectations of what would be a successful season, and now they're on the doorstep of being legendary with the Flying Illini of 1989, with the 2005 national runner-up teams. Those are the teams that get bobblehead commemorative sets, right? Like, Illinois is right there being able to do that, and then going in against whoever comes out of that other region where they play in the Final Four with Duke and Michigan State and UConn. I think Illinois can compete with them. Now, Arizona, I think, would be a favorite, but in the title game. But I think if Illinois gets through here, they have a chance to play for a national championship. So it's all right there in front of them. And I think, yes, Illinois fans would flock to Indy. It's an easy trip for all of them. And I think they'd be raising the prices on a lot of those places because they've been waiting for this for so long.
Well, I know my guy Brad will be there. Jeremy, enjoy the game tomorrow, man. We appreciate all your time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Anytime.
See you, Jeremy.
There you go. Jeremy Werner covers the Illinois basketball for 24/7 Sports in the Illini Inquirer. You can hit him up on Twitter at jwerner247. Really good stuff. Really good insight.
Yep.
A guy that covers the team just about as good as anybody out there.